We are a little more than halfway through March at this point. I want to catch you up on what has happened. This is going to be a shorter video than normal. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly because there's two big points I want to hit on, but the rest can wait. Let's go. Even though this is going to be shorter than normal, still all the same slides you know and love, but I'm going to focus again on two big points. So mortgage rates, not one of the two big points, essentially flat. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about inventory slash new listings as well as prices and what they're doing here because there's an interesting divide there seems to be developing in the market. Inventory is up a good 6%, and then we saw it retract a little bit here a little bit later in the month. But that's normal. Last year, we ended at the same exact spot we started. We'll see if that happens this March as well. Days on market still very stable. Prices still incredibly strong. Now, new listings. If we look here at just the absolute rocket ship trajectory that happened in March, we're on pace to see the best month in terms of new listings hitting the market in almost 4 years if you look at the pace compared to the past. Now, I think that pace has slowed down a little bit over the last few days, over the last week or so. And I do expect that we're going to end up probably in the 110 to 120 range at the end of the month. And that would put us at the most new listings that we've seen in about 3 years, which is incredible considering how the general trajectory has been consistently downward over the past 3 years. So what this means, time will tell, but I think it's a good sign for what's coming. Now, as you can see here, the pending sales also up incredibly high, our strongest month on pace. And again, just about 3 years. Looks very similar to what happened back in March of 2022. So we tend to look at this in a little bit of a blinded way where we see pending sales decreasing. We see the total number of sales decreasing. Even though prices are up, it's been hard to point to something that we can definitively say, if only we had new listings, we would be able to have more buyers purchase homes. It's a thought I've had. I've expressed it here multiple times. This is the first month we've actually gotten to see it happen in real time. And I think this goes to show the demand that really is still out there. And I'm going to talk in a little bit about the segments that that demand seems to be happening in primarily. Closed sales is not going to be the best month we've ever had, not by a long shot. But again, Marches tend to be a little bit down because generally we're closing things that went under contract in January, February. Those numbers we know are usually low. Months of inventory still very, very good for single family homes. Last year is when we start to see it tick up a little bit because of the demand that I think we have seen in March. It's been suppressed compared to what I was expecting. Sales prices for single family homes likely to take a small step back. Same exact thing that happened last year before prices then again from a chart standpoint picked back up. So we had a 1 month little blip last year, same month, maybe seeing the same thing here. Days on market still fine. Condos still incredibly resilient, though we are maybe about to crack 5 months of inventory for the first time in a long time. We shall see. But prices are not changing. They're continuing to inch their way upwards at a consistent 5 to 7% increase year over year, almost consistently over the better part of the last few years. Days on market may be heading back downwards. Speed falling right back into things as it should. Again, we talked about why it increased, whether it balances back out, the future will tell. But where are we going? And here's where I want to talk about this price segmentation demand. The demand seems to be heavily skewed towards the over $1 million price point, and that's looking at our nicer 3 bedroom units in duplexes, our 4s and 5s in single family homes, whereas a lot of the 1 and 2 bedroom units are not doing so well. They're not really getting purchased. And if we think about the big picture here, right, with what's going on economically, kind of makes sense. Right? We have always had people who want what they want. They're going to buy it when it's available here in Ocean City. And we've had people who can only do so when it makes sense financially. And they have strict budgets, they have strict monthly limits. And those folks haven't really been helped by anything economically, whereas the wealthier portion of the market continues to find ways to succeed no matter what. And there's, I'm not going to dive too deep into that rabbit hole, but there's a pretty clear divide, I think, in the total demand that's out there. There are higher end homes that are getting multiple bids within a few days. I haven't seen any that are going over asking price, and I certainly hope that trend doesn't come back, but I could see it happening based off of what I've seen so far this month. Whereas if you are in the under $1 million price range, you may have a little bit more leverage because of the lack of demand that is out there seemingly. So that's really the big divide. And again, looking at the amount of new listings and the amount of pending sales that have happened this month, the demand is still very strong. Now, we can theorize, right? Maybe people are pulling out of the stock market and they're rolling it into something a little bit safer. We can theorize a million things, but this end result is going to be the same, right? What we have seen is more new listings hitting the market more than we have seen in years, and the demand was right there to scoop it up. So I would expect that the days on market, we see that trickle down a little bit over the coming months. Where it goes longer term, time will tell. But this so far in March, this was an incredibly strong month in pockets. It's not across the board. If you're looking to buy, you may be hearing this thinking, oh gosh, I do not want to get involved in these bidding war situations. I was hoping to be able to take my time. I hear you completely. There are plenty of properties out there that I think you could have some leverage on. If you are potentially thinking about selling and you're hearing this, maybe you have something that would be in the under a million bracket and thinking, oh no, we have to move quickly. You might. We don't know what's coming with this economic change, but we can learn from what the market is telling us and react accordingly. So if you need help, if you want to talk about anything, all of my contact information is here. You can reach out any of the ways that are best for you. But I appreciate you hanging out with me as always, and I will see you next time.